Yasharallah, Yahweh, Alahai Nawa, Yahweh, Achad.
Sham, turn. Okay. Blessings of the south.
Tribes to south.
Tribes of the south.
Shamaiwan,
Shamaiwan.
Yashakar,
Yashakar.
Zabalawan,
Zabalwan.
Shamai, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Alahai Nawa, Yahweh, Achad.
Sham, turn. Tribes to the west.
Gad,
Gad.
Ashar,
Ashar.
Naphtali, Shammai, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Alahai Nawa, Yahweh, Achad.
Sham, turn. Blessings to the north.
Rabban,
Rabban.
Yahawada,
Yahawada.
Loya,
Loya.
Shammai, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Alahai Nawa, Yahweh, Achad.
Shab, turn. The blessing of Shabbat day. Repeat the Hebrew only. Blessed be Yahweh in the name of anointed Yahweh that give us the law. Barak Yahweh,
Barakatah Yahweh,
Bahashem Masak Yahweh,
Ba'ashem Hamashak Yahweh,
our honor for an hour,
Laba Ala Tanana,
Hafarah.
HaTorah.
Blessed be Yahweh in the name of anointed Yahweh that give us the light to see. Barak Yahweh,
Barakatah Yahweh,
Bahashem Masak Yahweh,
Ba'ashem Hamashak Yahweh,
our honor for an hour,
Laba Ala Tanana,
Ha'awar,
HaWar,
Lacha'ah.
Lakra'ah.
Blessed be Yahweh to the Yahweh that gave us the ram's horn to call the people. Barak Yahweh,
Barakatah Yahweh,
Bahashem Masak Yahweh,
Ba'ashem Hamashak Yahweh,
how honor for an hour,
Laba Ala Tanana,
Ha'awar,
HaWar,
Ha'ayol,
Ba'ayel,
Koran,
Koran,
Lakra'ah,
Lakra'ah,
Ha'aim.
Ba'aim.
Blessed be Yahweh in the name anointed Yahweh that gave us the olive oil to anoint Israel. Barak Yahweh,
Barakatah Yahweh,
Bahashem Masak Yahweh,
Ba'ashem Hamashak Yahweh,
how honor for an hour,
Laba Ala Tanana,
Hashaman,
HaShaman,
Zayath,
Zayath,
Lamashak,
Hamashak,
Yasher Allah,
Yasha Allah,
Bahashem,
Hashem,
Amasiak,
Hamashiach,
Yahushai,
Yahushai, the water, Damyad, Aman.
92, the blessing of the Shabbat.
Psalms 92. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord, and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High. To shoot forth thy loving kindness in the morning, and thy faithfulness every night. Upon an instrument of 10 strings, and upon the psaltery, upon an harp with a solemn sound. For thou, Lord, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the works of thine hands. O Lord, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth a fool understand this. When the wicked spring as the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Lord, art most high forevermore. For lo, thine enemies, O Lord, for lo, thine enemies shall perish. All the works of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shalt thou exalt like the horn of a unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eye also shall see my desire on my enemies, and mine ears shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our power. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing. To shew that the Lord is upright. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. Ba'ashem, Hamashakao Shatoratam Yad, Aman.
Aman. Hallelujah.
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 The 10 Commandments in Lashon Kodash, repeat the Hebrew. La'a.
La'a.
Yahweh.
Yahaya.
Lakha.
Laka.
Alahayim.
Alahayim.
Achayim.
Achorium.
Al.
Al.
Panya.
Panya.
La'a.
La'a.
Thaisha.
Daisha.
Lakha.
Laka.
Pasal.
Pasal.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Thaibadam.
Daibadam.
La'a.
La'a.
Thalakwakwa.
Lakwakwa.
Sham.
Sham.
Yahweh.
Yaha.
Bashawa.
Ashawa.
Zakar.
Zakar.
Hayawam.
Kayawam.
Hashabath.
Ashabath.
Lakodashwa.
Lakadashwa.
Chabad.
Kabad.
Abaka.
Amaka.
Wa Amaka.
Ba'amaka.
La'a.
La'a.
Thratazak.
Taratazak.
La'a.
La'a.
Thana'ap.
Tana'ab.
La'a.
La'a.
Thaganab.
Daganab.
La'a.
La'a.
Thaina.
Daino.
Shakor.
Shakor.
La'a.
La'a.
Thakaman.
Dakaman.
Ko.
Go.
Ashara.
Ashara.
Lara'aika.
Araika.
Bahashem.
Hashem.
Amasiak.
Amashiach.
Yahweh
Yahushai.
Tawada.
The water.
Thamyad.
Damyad.
Aman.
Aman.
10 Commandments in English.
Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. And Yahweh spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and shewing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Ba'ashem, Hamashakao Shatoratam Yad, Aman.
Aman. Hallelujah.
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 Psalms 121 in Lashon Kodash, repeat the Hebrew. Anasha.
Anasha.
Ayananinyam.
Anyanyanya.
So like, let me repeat that. Ayanyanyam.
Anyanya.
Did horrible. Al.
I'll.
Haharyam.
Ahoriam.
Ma'ayan.
Mayan.
Yabawa'a.
Yabawa'a.
Isaiah.
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 Yabawa'a.
Yabawa'a.
Mayahawa.
Mayahawa.
Shaisha.
Shaisha.
Shemayam.
Shamayam.
Wa'arataza.
Rataza.
La'a.
Aha.
Yanathan.
Yanathan.
Lamawat.
Amawat.
Regalia.
Regalia.
Yala'a.
Ayu'at.
Nayam.
Nayam.
Shashamaria.
Chashamaya.
Hana.
Hana.
Yala'a.
Yala'a.
Naiwam.
Awam.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yashan.
Yashan.
Shashawarmar.
Chashamar.
Yasharala.
Yasharala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shamaria.
Shamaya.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Tazalia.
Yazalia.
Al.
Al.
Yum Yanya.
Yamyanya.
Yad.
Yad.
Hashamash.
Hashamash.
Yala'a.
La'a.
Hakaya.
Hakaya.
Ba Yawam.
Bayawam.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Hala'a.
Hala'a.
Na.
Halamana.
Salakia. Halabana.
Halabana.
Bala Yawla.
Baniala.
Salakia. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yashamaya,
Yashamaya,
Makol,
Nakot,
Rai,
Ide,
Yashamar,
Yashamar,
Napashya,
Napashya,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Shamaya,
Yashamaya,
Hawa Laka,
Laka,
Salakia, Hawa Lakya,
Hawalakia,
Waba Wa'alya,
Waba,
Salakia, Waba Wa'alya,
Done.
Salakia.
Waba, Wala.
Go ahead. That part. This one right here. Salakia.
Wabaya, Waba, Waya, Waba, Waya, Ma'aita, Wa'id, Iwalam, Ba'ashem, Hamashiach Yawashai, the water, Damyad,
The water.
Aman.
The water. Salakia. I'm a Levite, so I speak Creole.
God.
Go ahead. Read Psalms 121.
Psalms 121. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, even forevermore. Ba'ashem, Hamashiach Yahweh Toratam Yad, Aman.
Aman. Hallelujah.
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 Darun Palau and Lashon Kodash. Repeat the Hebrew. Abanawa.
Abana.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Kodash.
Kodash.
Haya.
Haya.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Malakwavka. Thaba'a. Ratazaika. Haya. Aisha.
Aisha.
Barataza.
Barataza.
Hawa.
Gawa.
Haya.
Haya.
Vashamayim.
Ashamayim.
Nathanawa.
Atanana.
Lakham.
Lakom.
Hayawam.
Kawam.
Vasalaknawa.
Salakna.
Hawafyanawa.
Kawathna.
Hasalaknawa.
Salakna.
Hawafyanawa.
Latina.
Wala'a.
Wala a.
Fabianawa.
Nabena.
Vansayawan.
Adasaiwan.
Abo.
Abo.
Hawashainawa. Mayan. Rai.
Rai.
Haya.
Kaya.
Lakha.
Laka.
Hamalakwa.
Amalakwa.
Wa'ala.
Wala.
Wahaparath.
Watai Parath.
Lawalonyam.
Abalamyam.
Bahashem.
Balshem.
Amasiak.
Hamashiach.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
The water.
The water.
Thamyad.
Damyad.
Aman.
Aman. Matthew chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. For if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if ye forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Ba'ashem, Hamashiach Yahweh Toratam Yad, Aman.
Aman. Psalms 133 in Lashon Kodash. Repeat the Hebrew. Shayar.
Shayar.
Hamalwath.
Amayewath.
Ladawad.
Nadawad.
Hanam.
Ana.
Ma.
Ma.
Tawab.
Tawab.
Wamam.
Wama.
Nayam.
Ayam.
Shabbath.
Shabbath.
Akyam.
Akyam.
Gum.
Gum.
Yachad.
Yakad.
Hashaman.
Ashaman.
Atawab.
Atawab.
Al.
Al.
Arash.
Haraash.
Yorad.
Yorad.
Al.
Al.
Azakwan.
Azakwan.
Zakwan.
Akwan.
Aharon.
Aron.
Shayarad.
Shayrad.
Al.
Al.
Haya.
Aya.
Maliwathiwa.
Marawathiwa.
Kato.
Katol.
Kamwamwan.
Aramwan.
Shayarad.
Shayrad.
Al.
Al.
Haraya.
Araya.
Taziyawan.
Tazayawan.
Haya.
Haya.
Sham.
Shem.
Tazawa.
Azawa.
Yahweh.
Awa.
Af.
Ak.
Habraka.
Abraka.
Hayam.
Kayam.
Aid.
Aid.
Hayawam. Bahashem.
Ba'ashem.
Amasiak.
Mashiach.
Yahushai.
Aushai.
Thawada. Thamyan.
Damyad.
Aman. Psalms 23 in song.
Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It's like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountain of Zion. For there Yahweh commanded the blessing of life, even forevermore, even forevermore.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Psalms 150 to praise.
Psalms 150. Praise ye Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
Praise Yahweh in his sanctuary.
Hallelujah.
Praise him in the firmament of his power.
Hallelujah.
Praise him for his mighty acts.
Hallelujah.
Praise him according to his excellent greatness.
Hallelujah.
Praise him with the sound of the trumpet.
Hallelujah.
Praise him with the psaltery and harp.
Hallelujah.
Praise him with the timbrel and dance.
Hallelujah.
Praise him with the string instruments and organs.
Hallelujah.
Praise him upon the loud cymbals.
Hallelujah.
Praise him upon the high sounding cymbals.
Hallelujah.
Let everything that have breath praise ye Yahweh.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Praise ye Yahweh. Ba'ashem hamashak Yahweh shai toratam yad aman.
Amen. Let everything that have breath praise Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
Let everything that have breath praise Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
All praise and power go to Yahweh by Shema Sekawashai, for surely his mercy endure forever. We see thy mercy, O Yahweh, in these last days, that has given thy wisdom, thy knowledge, thy understanding. You're bringing thy people back to their heritage, the 12 tribes of Israel, the so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You're bringing back your people, thy flock, O Yahweh. We thank you, O Yahweh, for thy mercy, thy wisdom. And I pray unto Yahweh, you allow that spirit to encamp us when we go into thy portion and thy laws in our history, O Yahweh. I pray unto you how you send forth a righteous spirit of protection over all the souls and brothers that are making their way here. I pray you protect them and let not Satan prevail. Abana Yahweh Shema Sekawashai, Thawada Thamyad Aman.
Aman.
You may be seated. Hallelujah.
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 All praise and power go to Yahweh by Shema Sekawashai, for all praises go to him because he's waking us up in these last days and bringing us back to our heritage and the knowledge of ourselves. So all praises go to him, right? Let's go ahead and start off with Colossians 3 verse 17. And we're going to go straight into the portion because it's not many chapters, but there's a lot of verses that's in chapter 24, so there's a lot we may have to go into. So we're going to go straight into the portion. Colossians chapter 3 verse 17.
Colossians chapter 3 verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of Hamashach Yahweh, giving thanks to power and the Abba by him.
You know, and the first thing I want to say is it's all praise to the Most High, and that this is my first Shabbat doing it for the Light of Zion, so I want to clap up to the Most High for that. All praise to the Most High. But, you know, it really strikes home for me because I remember sitting right there where that brother is sitting with the green shirt, and I remember coming into the Light of Zion when I was a young man, and I remember the elders said that same Shabbat, we're raising up men, we're not raising up cheerleaders, we're raising up men to replace us in these seats that we're sitting here. We're not going to be sitting in these seats forever. So I thank the Most High that over these years he's prepped me to be able to sit in these chairs and go over the portion, go over the Torah, go over the Hebrew. You know, I still have my shortcomings, but I thank the Most High for the elders that they gave me. The Most High for the elders he gave me. So let's go ahead and start with Genesis chapter 23, and let's go into the portion. Genesis chapter 23, verse 1.
Gone. Genesis chapter 23, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Gone, read, got it. Gone? Gone.
It's still flipping. I see.
Yeah. Genesis chapter 23. And Sarah was 127 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kirjath Arba.
All right, so one of our powerful foremothers, our mother Sarah, has just recently passed away. But now as we go further, keep going.
and the same is Hebron in the land of Canaan.
Mm-hmm.
And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abraham stood up before his dead and spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stranger and a
Wait, he spoke
sojourner
to
with
who?
you. The sons of Heth.
He spoke to the children of Heth. Who's familiar with who the children of Heth are? Who are the children of Heth? Who is Abraham speaking to? Children of Heth. Abraham speaking to the children of somebody. Not speaking to nobody. Nobody is nobody. He's speaking to the children of Heth. Who's familiar with who the children of Heth are? Let's get Genesis chapter 10, verse 15. We have to, when we're reading these scriptures, we're reading the history of our people, the Torah portion, so on and so forth. For us to get a proper understanding of what's going on, the events that's taking place, we have to understand who's speaking here, right? Abraham's talking, right? Abraham's a what? What is Abraham? He's a what? Don't get scared. I'll choose somebody, right? Abraham's a what? He not sojourner, but like ethnicity-wise. Because I said what's the Hethites? Who are the people of Heth? So I'm dealing with ethnicity. Who is Abraham ethnicity-wise at this point? He's a what? No. Huh? I need hands. I can't give you a hand. I can't clap my hands for you if you can't give me your hand up first.
Hebrew.
One more time.
Hebrew.
He's a Hebrew. He's the name of the language that we speak, right? So we understand who Abraham is, but we have to understand the people that he's interacting with, right? So let's go ahead and get Genesis chapter 10, verse 15.
Genesis chapter 10, verse 15.
Uh-huh.
And Canaan begot Sidon, his firstborn.
Canaan begot Sidon, his firstborn, right? So a lot of times when you see Canaan as being mentioned in scriptures, don't get fooled by just the names that's being mentioned at the land of Canaan, right? There's more people that are Canaanites. When you see Zidon or Tyre, when you see those places, those are Canaanites also, right? Read on.
And Heth.
And who?
And Heth.
And Heth. Genesis chapter 10, this is a good chapter to go into to understand who these heathens are and who they go back to, who they descend from. Who's a Hamite, who's a Shemite, who's a Japhethite, who's a Japhetic. Right? Read on. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 23. 23 and 3. Speaking to the sons of Heth.
Genesis 23, verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Abraham stood up from before his dead and spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my Lord.
What did he say?
Hear us, my Lord.
One more time.
Hear us, my Lord.
Hear us, my Lord. So Abraham told him, I'm a stranger and sojourner, right? So today, what's the word for that? What we would call that? Somebody who's not from this country and they just sneak into the country. One more time. I can't hear y'all. An immigrant. You'll be an immigrant. Abraham, listen, he's our forefather. He's a prominent forefather, right? But he was an immigrant. He migrated from Chaldea, and he came into Canaan. He didn't get no visa. He didn't get no visa for that. He just wandered in because he was nomadic at that point. He lived a very nomadic life where he would build a tent, live there, move somewhere else, live there, move somewhere else, live there. I mean, and that's very familiarized to who? The Gadites, Native Americans, right? So let's read what these Canaanites say to our forefather Abraham one more time. Verse 6.
Hear us, my Lord.
He said what?
Hear us, my Lord.
Now, Esau makes fun of our Issacharite brothers. He called them aliens. He called them immigrants. He called them all types of things, right? Would you be surprised? Would you be shocked if you saw Donald Trump see an immigrant and say, yo, you're a king. You're above me. You're the president. You're like the president of the United States. Would Donald Trump speak to an immigrant like that? No. Right? So we have to make sense of why is the Canaanite speaking to Abraham like this? When he says, yo, I'm a stranger. I'm not from here. But just give me a burying place. Right? Go ahead. Keep reading. Verse 6.
Hear us, my Lord. Thou art a mighty prince among us.
What do you call him?
Thou art a mighty prince among
He
us.
called him a mighty prince, right? So when you go to that Hebrew word for mighty prince, it's the Hebrew word for it's the mighty is alahayim, which deals with power and authority, and he called him a prince is the Hebrew word nashaya, which deals with a ruler. So he called him an authoritative ruler that's in Canaan. But this guy's an immigrant. Why is he calling him that? We have to make sense of why he's doing this, right? So let's go ahead and go to Genesis. Let's go to Genesis chapter 14, verse 1. Let's understand the couple chapter. Let's go and touch a little aspects of things that we went over already before we got to this point, right?
Genesis chapter 14, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
And it came to pass in the days of Amphrael, king of Shinar.
So he called him a prince. Hebrew word is nashaya, means a ruler, right?
Amraphel.
He called him a prince, which is what? Is nashaya, which means a ruler, right? Which means if you were dealing with a ruler of a country, would you be what? Just talking to him casual and say, "What's up, dog? What's going on? Where are we going to be at next week?" You're not going to talk to him like that. He's a ruler, which means your life, your livelihood is in his hands. Kanala. Kanala. Absolutely. So your life is in his hands. So you're not going to speak to a ruler just casually, right? So let's see why he spoke to Abraham like this. What was the verse I told you to go to?
14, verse 1.
14, verse 1. Go ahead.
And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar,
Uh-huh.
and Arioch, king of Elasar, Shadolamer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations.
So we have these nations in Genesis chapter 14. We went over it before. I think it was Chief Minister going over it. But in Genesis chapter 14, we have a list of nations that are fighting each other, right? Read verse 1 one more time.
And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Shadolamer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations,
Uh-huh.
that these
So
made war.
These are four kings, and their armies are warring against who? Read on.
That these made war with Bera, king of Sodom,
King of who?
king of Sodom,
King of Sodom, right? Read on.
and
Which
with
is a Canaanite, right? Read on. Canaanite city.
and
read
with
on.
Bersha, king of Gomorrah.
And the king of Gomorrah, the first cities of homosexuals in the scriptures, right? So you have these kings that are fighting against these other four kings, right? Let's jump down to verse 11, and let's see what happened when they fought each other. Verse 11.
Verse 11. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah,
So they won. Read on.
and all their victuals, and went their way.
They went their way. So they fought against Sodom and Gomorrah, these two cities, and took all their victuals, took all the people, all their possessions, right, and went their way. Verse 12.
And they took Lot, Abraham's brother's son, whom dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. And there came one that had escaped, and told Abram the Hebrew. For he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, and were confederate with Abram. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he
What-
armed.
What did he do?
And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive,
Uh-huh.
he armed his trained servants.
He has trained servants. How many trained servants does Abraham has, right? Read on.
Born in his own house,
Uh-huh.
318, and pursued them unto Dan.
Right. So you hear 317, that's like a militia, right? He has a militia under his power, right? And he's taking this militia, he's going to fight against four kings and their four separate armies that defeated two other cities, right, of people, right? Read on. And let's see what happened.
And he divided himself against them, he and his servants, by night, and smote them. And
What did he do?
And he divided himself against them, he and his servants, by night, and smote them, and pursued them unto Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus.
Uh-huh.
And he brought back all the goods.
What did he do?
And he brought back all the goods.
So he went with his slim 317 and was able to defeat four kings and their four armies, and he wiped them out. and took all the possessions, took all the things that they took, and brought it back. Right? Read on.
And also brought again his brother Lot, and his goods, and the women also, and the people.
Right. So this is a great, magnificent military feat that he has now under his belt. Now all the people of Canaan understands that Abraham and his 317 trained servants are not something to be messed with or played with, right? So now when we go back, now we understand that Abraham has a fame in the land as what? Having a military feat. No one wants to mess with Abraham, right? So let's go and see what other reason why he called him a mighty prince, right? Let's go ahead and get Genesis chapter 12, verse 15 and 16. Right? He has that military force. And it shouldn't surprise us because we see other times where a man will have less numbers and be able to defeat larger numbers in the scriptures, right? Who knows an example? Right? I'll give you one. Gideon and his 300. Who got another example? Okay, see, you can't be doing that. What you got?
David and 200. I think it was 200.
Hey, give this sister a powerful hand. She must be watching LOZ's Friday History class. Whoever is doing that class, I don't know.
Trademark.
I don't know. Whoever's doing that class, teach her to write. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get Genesis 12 and 15. That's
Genesis
powerful
chapter
example.
12, verse 15. The princes also of Pharaoh saw her and commended her before Pharaoh.
So I don't have to read the whole story, but we understand what happened and took place. Abraham came to Egypt, and he understood that these filthy Africans were going to look at his woman and say, I want that woman, and nothing's going to stop me from taking this woman. So he tells his wife to play and be like you're my sister, so on and so forth, and come into the land. So he comes in the land, and the people see her, they take her, but they don't say anything about it because he said that's his sister, right? Verse 15, one more time.
And the princes also of Pharaoh saw her and commended her before Pharaoh. And the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. And he entreated Abram well for her sake.
Right, he gave him a lot of possessions because he took Sarah, right? Read on.
And he had sheep and oxen and he-donkeys and manservants and maidservants and she-donkeys and camels.
So he had all this possession. He didn't have this before, but now he has this, which makes Abraham now what? He's what? Is he poor? He's rich. He has now possessions. He has material things, and he got that from the Lord in this situation, right? Jump down to verse 20.
And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had.
Right. So even though the whole situation happened, Pharaoh finds out that, okay, that's not your sister. The Most High was about to kill me. You know what? Boom. Take the possessions. Get out of Egypt, right? But he kept the possessions. He still maintained his financial wealth, right? Chapter 13, verse 2.
And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold.
So he had all these possessions, manservants, maidservants, gold, silver, all of that, right? So we see that he's rich, right? But now King Abimelech, Genesis 20 and 14.
Genesis 20 and 14. And Abimelech took sheep and oxen and menservants, and womenservants, and gave them unto Abram, and restored him Sarah his wife.
So the same thing happened with King Abimelech, right? And for those who don't know, King Abimelech was a Philistine, right? The place he ruled was right next to Gaza, which makes him a Philistine.